Welcome to the REALL Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by the Leadership Doctors, Dr. Sheka Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the REALL Resilience Framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. REALL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out. The Leadership Doctors alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water succinctly, creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in the Leadership Doctors to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Welcome to the REALL Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by the Leadership Doctors, Dr. Sheka Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor. REALL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. The Leadership Doctors alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome to the REALL Academy, brought to you by Create and Educate. We are on episode 145, and we are your very own now Systems SistHers, HERS, home of the REALL Framework. I am Dr. Sheka Houston.
And I am Dr. Tammy Taylor. Good morning, Sheka, and good morning, REALL Academy family. We're going to be flipping back and forth with our muting, so be patient with us this morning.
Yes, good morning, Tammy, and good morning to the REALL Academy family. And I'm going to tell you about this change in our name in just a moment. But yes, I left my headphones at work that has the microphone on it, and that is the only way we don't have that ringing and whistling. So we'll have to remember to keep muting back and forth. But we are rebranding ourselves based on requests for our work. So when people are requesting certain things because they see certain things in what you offer, it just makes sense to provide people with what they need and what is desired. So that's what the REALL Framework is all about, instituting the right systems. And so that is the reason behind our Systems SistHers REALL name change.
Yeah, so we're transitioning from leadership doctors because leadership is just a small part of what we do.
Yes, and the whole of what we do is to develop systems for success and then teach others how to duplicate those systems, either at the district level, the school level, the classroom level, student level, and the parental level.
Yeah, systems are so very important, and everybody has their particular niche. Principal Hurt is the data guru, and this morning he was sharing some of the most important data we can learn from, and that is the number of children who are we are experiencing deaths by suicide with these young people. And so, Principal Hurt, thank you very much for sharing that very, very important information this morning. We really appreciate you. But as I said, he is the data guru. Create and educate, we are your system sisters. Ultimate leadership goal. And Tovar is the ultimate collaborator with educators, with his students, and with his staff. So we come to you as the Fantastic Four on Saturday and Sundays. We are your one-stop shop for educational inspiration.
Got to remember to unmute. Most definitely, Tammy. So this brings us to our topic for today, episode 145. How many systems does it take to run a successful school? And Tammy, if you will help me with the starting with the comments. Um,
I got it.
how many systems does it take to run a successful school? This is from your Systems Sisters. So before we tell you the answer to that, I'm going to put this up, what we've created for this topic, because before we can even start talking about the number of systems, we have to first define for you what we mean by systems. And at Create and Educate, your System Sisters, this means messaging plus effective processes equals success divided by refinement and or reflection. And we have trust under messaging when we're defining systems. And I'm going to let Tammy explain why that trust is there.
Yes, trust is very important when you're talking about creating a message that inspires people to follow the processes that you have put into place. When you are sending out a message about what it is you want to accomplish, or what your vision for your organization is, or what your mission, why are you doing what you're doing, exists, you have to build the trust level of the people who are to follow you, because people are not going to follow anyone that they don't trust. I can say that I am intending to do something, but if my actions don't match what I'm doing, people don't have confidence in the fact that, number one, I want to do it, or number two, that we can do it. So you have to be sure that you cultivate a culture of trust so that people believe in who you are, number one, what you stand for, number two, and number three, that they believe that you're going to implement these processes that we are talking about that create these systems. You cannot say one thing and do something else, because whether they do it in your face or not, but the people who should be following you are laughing and thinking, who in the world is listening to that? You have to build the trust of your constituents. You have to build the trust of your team so that everybody knows Tammy's heart is right where she says it is. She's going to put these processes in place for the betterment of the team. So when you're thinking about these things, make sure that the trust is there, because if people don't trust you, they're not going to follow what you're telling them.
Most definitely. And when we're talking about systems, this formula has to exist with the messaging, because in education, we're dealing with a people and a service oriented business. So if the messaging is not right, and like what Tammy talked about, if that trust is not there, it doesn't matter how effective your process is, it's not going to be successful if the people don't trust you and if the messaging behind it was not received. Because people can have talk about effective processes and systems all they want to, if what lands on my ear doesn't connect with, I see the why behind this, or I see the necessity or the reason why I should be committed to this, I'm going to automatically tune out. And I'm that girl. I've done that. I've heard things that I say, we're not doing that. My building's not doing that. My staff's not doing that. I am her. So I know that that exists. And when you have the right messaging that includes the trust with the effective process, you get that success. But if you don't refine it by reflecting, it won't be successful. You won't have a continuous process of improvement. And so, as the times change, as people in your building change, as society changes, as Principal Kafele tells us all the time to keep those mirrors up, if you're not consistently reflecting on your processes, the system's not going to last. So, this is the formula for effective systems in any building, especially when we're talking about in education. And we definitely have to shout out Principal Kafele anytime we see him. And I forgot to do the roll call, so I apologize to everyone focusing on this changing back and forth with this muting. But we always have to shout out Principal Kafele and Principal Hurt. But we've said good morning definitely to everyone. But he always refers to us as his sisters in education, and so does Principal Hurt. So Systems SistHers really just fits all the way around. But
Yeah,
tell
we
us
were
what
excited about that. Well, Rashika,
we
I
were.
want to say this one thing too before we move on and let Shika take us into the how things have been kept real. Another very important thing that we have to remember when we're talking about creating that message and building our trust within the team that we are working with. Trust, and I love that, Sherrod. Trust is a must. He says that's one of those things that Shika and I can turn into a rap song. And we probably won't do nothing if we but we are definitely wanting to just express that one way that you get trust is through transparency. You have to be honest. And when people believe that you are honest about what you're saying, they believe that you truly are doing what you're doing for the right reason, then you can almost get people, and they know that you're doing what's best for children. You can get people to do what you need them to do to help you to accomplish that goal, to make your vision a reality. So just be sure that that trust is built on transparency and true and genuine honesty with the folks that you're working with.
Most definitely. And you all tell us what you all think about this definition or this formula for systems in the comments. And Principal Hurt, when we listen to Principal Hurt, he tells us he's talking good. And then when Principal Hurt say he's talking good, he's talking good. I listened to Jerry Flowers for my spiritual inspiration throughout the week. And Pastor Flowers always said, "This is good, y'all. This is good, y'all." So when me and Tammy say, "This is real talk, y'all better be putting some of these emojis, fire emojis, or something in the chat, because this is good. This definition for systems, this is real talk, y'all, because systems and not having the right systems in place are why schools fail. It is why leaders fail. It is why things fail. You have to have the right system, or else it's not going to last. It's something's going to be at a demise. So you have to have the right system. So y'all tell us what y'all think about this. And so, how many systems does it take to run a successful school? Create and Educate's REAL framework. 3 systems are required to run a successful school. And based on our framework, that first system is a system of respect, has to be established in your building, in everything that you do, in order to start the process to anything. And that's why we have that as the door of our framework. Respect has to be in place. And so when we're thinking about respect from an educational standpoint, before we even get into the system, you know, me and Tammy, we're going to unpack some stuff first before we get there. Respect, we have to look at where we are with respect in our society with education, period. Is there a level of respect for education in your culture and climate, in your building, overall in society? You have to unpack that first, because if you don't unpack it to know where people are, you can't devise a plan or a system to get where you need to be, to get it to where you need to be for it to be there. So that first thing with respect, let's look at, you know, where are we as far as respect for an education? I think that from the time that I graduated and Tammy graduated, and that some of you all have graduated, when we look at a respect for an education in overall society, that has diminished tremendously. And we have to unpack why that is. So you all tell us in the comments what your thoughts are. Where did the respect for a value of an education go, and the respect for educators? Where did that go? Because it has diminished. So you all tell us what your thoughts are. We're going to tell you, you know, our thinking around it. I'll let Tammy start off with her thoughts first.
Yeah, and one of the things that we want you guys to just be cognizant of this morning, just be thinking about this, because this again is very important work for us. And when we came up with the REAL acronym, we weren't trying to be cute. I mean, we want to be cute too, but we really were not trying to come up with just a trendy acronym. We were really thinking about and looking at those things that are important to making a difference and changing the trajectory of education as we know it. And we have to begin, and that's why we started. Our door is the door of respect, and we said that has to be foundational in everything that happens. And what we want to just start with, because respect is not the same anymore, and that's not just about what's happening within a school building. That's societally. We are looking at a difference in respect for the profession. We're looking at a difference in the way that education is valued. People are losing interest in even having anything to do with school, because we are so far behind where we were. We're almost at the same place Sheka talked about when we graduated. We're almost sitting in that same spot today. School looks the same. Like the criteria for exiting high school for kids that are graduating 2024, guess what? It's the same criteria they had when I graduated from high school. That's nuts. We have not changed with the time. So some of this maybe, yeah, we've not given off the aura that we need to be respected. However, whatever the reason, societally, we do not value education in the same manner that we have in the past. And so, what we're talking about when we talk about respect, though, is we're talking to everybody, because respect is not just something that happens in a school building. Yes, that's very important. I have to respect my staff, I have to respect my students, I have to respect my parents. But this is a very holistic approach to systems, because respect starts at home. We're talking about this because we want parents to understand too. Yes, we have to go back to when there was the time that you were expected to respect your teachers. You were expected to respect the adults that were responsible for you. But I want us to just think more deeply about it. And I think Sheka and I are on the same page. We also want this to be systemic. We want to think about the respect. What are we doing to command the respect that we deserve? What is happening when you don't feel like you're respected? That trickles down. And so you're talking about from the state to the district to the school. We're going to have to change the way we do things in order for this to begin to look differently.
You're exactly right, Tammy. And just to read some of the comments, Principal Rashard Davis out of Las Vegas thinks that respect is earned and not given in today's society. And he's completely spot on with that. And Principal Sherrod Laws stated that he thinks that it left when inflation happened and the cost of living went up. And he's explained this by saying that there's a lot of economic slaves, which he says is a bad term, but there's people working 2 and 3 jobs to stay above poverty and not able to educate and teach their children. And I think he is spot on with that. And Principal Hurd is talking about how school looks the same. It hasn't changed much throughout the years. It's like Tammy said, we're sitting in the same seats we were when we were in school, but the whole world around us is changing. And I think all of you are right on with your comments. And I just want to add that relevance definitely has diminished, because as the whole world is changing, but everything in a school and the system looks the same, people are wondering, well, what do I need this for? And now that there's so many ways to make money online, there are so many avenues to entrepreneurship that we don't focus on in schools, because what's our push? Our push is to college, because that's what we know, because we have bias, if we're being honest.
And
we
for
have
us to pass those tests that we're judged by, so
Right.
that we don't look a certain way or get treated a certain way because we don't have those scores.
Exactly. We standardize everything so we can be the same. And so, I think that the other part of that is also that social media obsessions with cell phones and electronics and our own personalization of everything, I think that has really diminished our respect for a lot of things in our society. People are so focused on themselves that a lot of times, outside of people working 2 and 3 jobs, outside of the fact that we know that from our work with Bill, my sister, Black women being the heads of households in over 80% of families in some cases, means that instead of there being 2 people to help out with children, there's only 1 person. So when that person might be working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet, where are the children? Are they with family? Does those family members and friends hold the same values that you have? Are they just on electronics? Do you even have time to talk to the children about any values? Are you so tired after, everything that, again, this focus on our centrality, ourselves? We're going to school. We got these other jobs. We're doing so much that there's not a focus on that. And so the social media with the negativity highlights on things from education, I think has helped to diminish that respect level for educators, because even though we know that there are more positive stories than negative stories, the ones that go viral and the ones that get told are the negative stories. So that's the perception, that negativity that is out there. So I think that the relevance and the respect has been killed by all of those things that I've just stated. And I see you all have more comments that are coming that we're going to put up. You were going to say something, Tammy, before we close, because we're right at the time.
No, we're good. You can go on and close us out so we can be on time.
Okay. But we want to continue this. This will be a continuation. So we will definitely continue this next week, because we want to get to the system. But before we get to the system of respect, we've got to talk about where that went so that we can get it back and put those correct systems in to make sure that it's established in your school building, in your community, and with everybody that you're serving. So we thank you all for joining us. We are back to the Fantastic Four. Josh is back on Sundays, so don't forget to join him tomorrow on his brand new podcast. And Principal Kafele, we're joining him next. He has a phenomenal guest that we're actually going to be presenting at the same conference coming up in, I think, September, Coach Fest. And then back on Saturdays starting at 10 o'clock with Principal Sean Hurt, and then your Systems SistHers at Create and Educate at 10:30. So thank you all so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your Saturday.